IBCN IBCN
அதாவது இன்றைக்கி 5 வயசு பிள்ளையிலேருந்து ஆயா அப்பத்தா வரைக்கும் காமர்ஸு, ஃபேஸ்புக்கு, வாட்ஸ்அப்புன்னு அதில் நம்மளோட அது 2.5 கலந்துருச்சு. ஒரு மணி நேரம் மெசேஜ் இல்லைனாலே ஃபோன் பண்ணி கேட்குறாங்க, என்னப்பா 1 மணி நேரம் ஆன்லைனில் இல்லைன்னு உடம்பு சரியில்லையாங்கிறாங்க. அந்த அளவுக்கு நம்மளோட அது இன்றைக்கி டிஜிட்டைசேஷன் ரொம்ப நம்மளோட சேர்ந்துருச்சு.
நம்ம ஒருத்தருக்கு கால் பண்ணி பார்க்குறோம், அவங்க எடுக்கலைன்னா அவங்களுக்கு ஏதோ ஆபத்துங்கிற மாதிரி நமக்கு தோண ஆரம்பிச்சிருது. அவங்க கைபேசிக்கு கூப்பிடுறோம், அவங்க எடுக்கலை அப்படின்னா எதுவும் பிரச்சனையாக இருக்குமோ, ஏதோ சிக்கலோ, அந்த அளவுக்கு நம்ம உடம்போட ஒரு அங்கம் மாதிரி நம்ம ஃபோனெல்லாம் ஆக்கிக்கிட்டோம். ஸோ எல்லாமே நமக்கு கைபேசி, கணினி, இந்த மாதிரி அதெல்லாம் நம்ம வாழ்க்கையில் ஒரு அங்கம்னு நமக்கு ஆயிடுச்சு. ஸோ அப்போ டிஜிட்டைசேஷன் ஹஸ் பிகம் வெரி இம்பார்ட்டன்ட். ஸோ அதை பற்றி பேசுகிறதுக்காக ஒரு மிக அனுபவமிக்க ஒருவர் வருகிறார். அவர் யாருன்னா டெக் மஹிந்திரா அமெரிக்காஸ் அண்ட் சிட்டி சாஃப்டின் போர்டு மெம்பர். எதுவும் முடியும் என்று கூறும் தன்னம்பிக்கை, இதுதான் இவரோட தனி அடையாளம், இதுதான் அவரோட தாரக மந்திரம். இவர் பல்வேறு தலைமைத்துவ பொறுப்புகளில் இருந்திருக்கிறார். டிஜிட்டைசேஷன் தொழிலுக்கு எவ்வளவு முக்கியம் இந்த காலகட்டத்தில் அப்படிங்கிறத பற்றி அவர் பேச வர்றார்.
அவர்களை கௌரவிப்பதற்கு நம்மளுடைய ECU லைன் முருகப்பண்ணன் அவர்களையும் மேடைக்கு அழைக்கிறோம். அதாவது இங்கே சொன்னோம்னா கைகாட்டி முருகப்பன் சொன்னால் தெரியும். அவங்க தான் இதை ரொம்ப ப்ராம்ப்டாக, அதுவும் டைம்லியாக, ஷார்ட் அண்ட் ஸ்வீட்டாக எல்லாருக்கும் அப்பப்போ கொடுத்துட்டு இருந்தாங்க. அவங்களுக்கு ஒரு பெரிய கரவொலி.
நன்றி திரு முருகப்பண்ணன்.
So good morning everybody. இது எங்க ஆயோட்டையா நட்டேசன் செட்டியார், and we are celebrating entrepreneurs and entrepreneurship today, and he started business when he was 13 years old, mortgaging my grandmother's jewels. She appropriately reminded him many times during his lifetime. But he did a lot of big things. He, had a rice mill. He started a paper business. Those of you who are in Chennai would know Jayam and Company. It's thriving and growing very well even today. And one day he decided he wanted to get into coffee plantations, went into Karnataka, got settled down there, and did a great job with that. And he's been an inspiration, and I wanted to remember him today as we get started. And there's been a lot of debate about the past. Some of our classmates have met, and one of the discussions that came was, why are we talking about the past? And I live in the US. I work in cutting-edge technology. I love what I do. I believe that what we do transforms the way people live and work. But as you go across your journey as leaders, what do? We take decisions. Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. And suddenly you'll come to a point where it's cloudy. You can't take a decision. The decision is difficult. Maybe the company will lose a lot of money. So you'll say, park the decision for today. Let me think. And your mind is troubled. When you wake up in the morning, think peacefully. And I always go back to him. And one of the things that he said was, the word you give, and he lived his life that way, the word you give is more important than any document you'll ever sign. So I think history is the great teacher. My grandfather is an inspiration. We have to live in the future. A dominant part of our time has to be in the future, but the past is important and the roots are important. So with that, I'll go into the future. Everyone's talking about digital. It's going to affect everybody in this room. Whether you're doing any type of business, large business, small and medium business, it's going to affect you either in a positive way or in a negative way. Before that, a quick a minute on the Mahindra Group. The group is a part of the fabric in India, but growing dramatically all over the globe now. In the last 8 years, the group has grown 10x. And Tech Mahindra, the organization that I'm with, we are a $4 billion organization. The way I would describe Tech Mahindra is we operate at the intersection where information technology, business process, core engineering, and networks meet, right? And so we bought Satyam, the company that underwent some problems 6 years ago, And both organizations were about $1.3 billion each, with about 70,000 people when we bought it 6 years ago. We've turned the company around. Today, we are about 4.2 billion with about 115,000 people worldwide. So that's Tech Mahindra. Thank you. Thank you. So let's now come to the topic that's of interest today, digitization of business. I just want to go back to the way civilization has evolved. We all started as hunter-gatherers. Millions of years we were hunter-gatherers. And then the agriculture, I'm talking about important points in history that dramatically changed the way people live and work. We moved from hunter-gatherer age to the agriculture age. You know, quality seeds were found. The Green Revolution happened. There was an economist about 60 years ago, a very famous economist, who said that the world will die because the population is growing too fast and there's no food. There's not enough food. And the example that was given was India and China, saying these guys are going to go to the dogs. We've lived and thrived. Better farming techniques have ensured that the agriculture revolution took us to a different level. And then we moved to the industrial age, where the power moved from the muscle to the machine. We saw the age of automobiles, aircrafts. Wow, didn't it change the way we lived and worked? It did. And then came the information technology age. எவ்வளோ பேர் நம்ம ட்ரெயின் ஸ்டேஷனில் போயிட்டு ஒரு queue இருக்கும். One queue for Madurai, one queue for going to Trichy, and people standing in long queues. All that is a thing of the past. Technology really transformed the way people lived and worked. And now we are coming to the digital age. This age is going to have far-reaching impact. Far-reaching impact. And it's not going to cost as much as the Industrial Revolution cost. Because Industrial Revolution, you had to construct factories. It took time. You had to make phenomenal investments. Here in the digital age, with minimum of investment, there are going to be dramatically different results. And you don't have to be big to be successful. You don't have to be an elephant to dance in the digital age. Small and medium business can challenge big enterprises if they learn how to adopt to this, right? And so, and always, at this point in time, the one thing that you need to remember is, whenever change happens, what do people do? They say, behave like adults. Be mature. There's only one thing as I go through this presentation that I want from you. I want you to be like children, because children adapt to change. Right? You take them, you take them elsewhere. I took our daughter, when she was 3, when she was in the 3rd grade, we put her in the US. All of us struggled to settle down. She settled down immediately, right? And so I'll go to the next slide. What is digital? Let's understand that. How many of you wear Fitbits or some form of a monitor? Raise your hands. Okay, quite a few. So this is a sensor. You must understand this. Let's get the basics right. This is a sensor. What does the sensor do? It collects data. And then the data is processed and you get an output. We are fortunate to be living in a world where network, mobility, analytics, cloud, sensors, security, all of them have come together. Aren't we fortunate? Facebook could have happened 10 years ago. The infrastructure was not ready. Today, the infrastructure is ready. You have Reliance Jio. They're talking about data speeds which are superb. In fact, the digital revolution, I think, will be as fast, in the developing countries as it's in the developed countries. So basically, all of this coming together. So you could put, I'm wearing this sensor. It collects data about my health and helps me be active and healthy. You can put this sensor on a machine. The machine starts talking to you. Metals become intelligent. And with that intelligence, you can collect a whole lot of details that can completely transform the way you're thinking of business. Now, I'm going to talk to you about a couple of examples. Let me look at, we have 12 more minutes to go. So this is aircraft, digital aircraft. How many of you are frequent travelers by aeroplanes? Quite a few. You have to be careful of what you ask. I remember when I started my career, I used to go to Delhi, and I used to take this long train. And once I was required urgently, they said, fly. And I flew. I said, 2 hours Delhi and back. So I said, God, I should travel by air all the time. And now I travel 3 days a week for the last 15 years. So be careful of what you ask God for. So there are, as the aircraft evolves, today, many of us spend, out of every 10 times, 3 times your trip is going to get screwed. You can do nothing about it. There are people who get excited, angry. I used to be initially, it only affects your health. I now love the airport. I love everything that happens in the airport. I can set up my office, so I'm very happy. But do we have to live that way? Now, this is a real-life experience with a Canadian company called Bombardier. This is one of the first implementations of its kind in the world. There are 5,000 sensors inside this aircraft. It collects everything about the aircraft as the aircraft flies real time. So let's assume that as you're flying real time, there's a leakage in the 4th engine. Fuel leakage in the 4th engine. The data comes in, you are analyzing the data real time as it comes in, and then a system places a purchase order for the spare to reach the aircraft. Another purchase, all this is without manual intervention. Another purchase order is for the engineer to come to the airport and wait. And the third is to repair all these aircrafts, you have tech pubs. These are huge manuals. So on an iPad, it's open. The page on which the instructions are ready. The aircraft comes in, passengers disembark. As they are disembarking, the crew goes in, repairs the aircraft, the new passengers get in, the flight goes. Isn't it smooth and beautiful and easy? And we're wasting so much of time, and look at the productivity. Many times now, they'll taxi me on the runway, keep me for 2 hours, and then come back. How much of productivity loss? To so many people in the plane, what happens to their productivity? What happens to the productivity of something as high cost as an aeroplane? That's what digital technologies can do. Now let's talk about healthcare. Now healthcare automatically means you see somebody lying in a stretcher about to die. Healthcare in the future is all about wellness. How do you keep people healthy? That's the key goal. So, yesterday Dr. Jawahar mentioned that we are proudly India is the diabetes capital of the world. So how can you use technology today? So, there is work that's been done where we're collecting data from implants, patients with implants. The data comes real time. And most of the time people fall ill because they don't take their medicines on time. They don't follow instructions on time. And maybe they'll go to a party like this yesterday and have 5 or 6 jalebis at one time. So now technology will help a remote back office monitor what's happening in your body. Find out when you're going wrong and reach an intervention so that you don't have to hit the emergency room. In the Western world, you hit the emergency room, God save you. It's so expensive. I mean, you shouldn't go to an emergency room anywhere you're in the world, but digital health will help you. Digital automobile. And then I'll move to small and medium business. What's happening here is exciting. What did we know about cars? When an Audi came, it's the styling. It's how the look and feel. My friend says, when I press the accelerator, I hear the rumble under my feet. That's the excitement with cars. That will change. Of course, styling will always be important. But what's going to happen inside the car? Except for taking bath in your car, you can do everything else. I'm not joking. You can buy, you can sell, you can have online. If you have teenage kids at home and you're going out and you want to monitor them, have video monitoring come straight into your car. You can have location-based services. As you drive from one locality to another, if you so permit, the car will become your friend. You get into the car, it'll tell you, CTL, you missed your health checkup by 2 weeks. Better drive in, the nearest Aetna approved clinic is 12 miles away. That's how exciting what's happening. The car has many more million lines of code than an aircraft. Did you know that? That's how exciting it's going to be. I know we're running short of time, so we'll have to move quick. So you might think, all this, is it for big business? No. It is as relevant for small and medium business. And I'll tell you why. The whole thing is now, it's instant gratification. All your customers want something now. On Amazon, I wake up at 12 o'clock in the night, I want to buy this, I'll go to the computer, log in and complete my transaction. I can't wait till the morning. Bookstores are disappearing. I was talking to Ravi Tamilvananan. The whole digital industry is, the publishing industry is completely transforming. If you traditionally publish books, I would be very worried. I know you don't want to hear that, but that's the truth. But how can you adapt to it? Look at Apple, what Apple did to music. The music guys didn't like it. He called them and told them, 99 cents a download. Are you willing to play tango or not? Everyone agreed. So now, everything is legal. Millions of songs get downloaded. People get paid. The model is changed. So model is changing. The insurance business will completely change. The traditional way where that, the LIC agent who knew my mother very well, my grandmother very well, the way he sold insurance policies, saying, your granddaughter, you put this, 20 years later you'll get this much, and got the policy, change. Data, earlier we didn't know data. Today we have data. We can collect data as it flies real time into you. So with that data, the risk goes out of the business. Your God, I'll give you a wrong example here, Uber. A journalist who had criticized Uber was coming in for a meeting, and the journalist was late. And when he walked into the meeting, he said, I'm sorry, I'm late. And this guy says, I'm God. I know exactly where you are at all points in time. It became a big controversy. And the second thing I want to tell you is, in order to be able to adapt to the digital world, small and medium business need not make heavy investments. Everything is changing from a CapEx world to an OpEx world. And I'll tell you how that happens. This is small and medium business doing technology. I think our research guys looked at the Gulf news and says everywhere in the Gulf now, people are saying everyone's moving to the cloud. You don't own the infrastructure. You pay as you use, right? And these are the statistics. Organizations that use digital technologies are likely to be 2 times more profitable, generate 3 times more revenue. Now I'm going to talk about, we have 4.5 minutes. We have to talk about connected agriculture. And I'll give you one example. And if you know this example, there are many use cases you can apply to your own business. There is a plantation, that's a farm. And I'll give you an example. Assume that you're making bananas, and you're transporting it from Uruguay to the US to supermarkets. It gets shipped to a collection point, it goes through trucks, ships, and then it reaches, again, truck ships, and it reaches the supermarket. They open the supermarket, they open the bag, and they find that the bananas are spoiled. What happens? Bananas have to be transported at a particular temperature. The air conditioning in one of the trucks failed, and the product had to be replaced. So now you would have sensors in the trucks. The sensors will collect various parameters and will give you details as you go. And assume that now in the second leg, an air conditioner failed, as a result of which the bananas got spoiled. You can catch it at the point where it failed and terminate the transaction there and ensure that a new supply goes in. More important, now you know your supply chain. You can find out where the problem in the supply chain is and handle it at that point in time and replace the supplier if required, right? So that is, and you can do at each of these points, digital technologies can play a very big role. Now, if you may be a farmer, you have 300 acres of coffee. You need not look at this as an entire chain. You can do digital only for the plantation. And at the plantation, you can measure 50 plus parameters, the height of the crop, the wind direction, which parts of the field need nutrients, which part of the field need more water. It can give you details to that effect. And now service providers are tying up and then charging you per acre. And some of them who know your business very well are also saying, like in the aircrafts, they pay me for every aircraft they sell. So it could be for every acre output. You could link it to that. So it's not, the point I'm making is, you don't have to worry about infrastructure. It is all available on CapEx to OpEx type models, and it's all charged on usage. So even small and medium business can get these technologies. Connected aftermarket. Any of you who are in the distribution business, assume you have a car dealership. Today, again, this will change. Because with digitization, now they'll say, every 5,000 kilometers, bring your car in for service. Doesn't make sense. My wife is about one of the safest drivers you can find anywhere in the world. And for her, I'm sure she can drive 10,000 miles before she brings it in. So today, the car dealership will know exactly what's happening inside your car. And they can call your car in at the time it is required for service. And they can charge you only for what is required to be charged. And it'll also add more revenue to you, because now you understand the driving behavior of the driver who's driving the car, and you can suggest a new alternative model and cross-sell, upsell to them, right? So that's how powerful this is. Finally, I have 1 minute and 29 seconds more. Nightingale. This is a small and medium business in India. They provide healthcare to homes, right? This was an acquisition, not an acquisition, this is a serious investment that our private equity arm, Mahindra Partners, made. They put 105 crores in the second round of funding and took a controlling stake in this company. And so for those of you who are looking at new avenues, home healthcare seems to be a very, very hot, very emerging area. So I was talking to Parag, who's a good friend of mine, and who runs the private equity arm within Mahindra. And he was saying, I said, why? Why did you buy Nightingale? Or why did you invest in Nightingale? And he said, this is not a traditional, provide healthcare services at home type company. They incorporated digital technologies. They can find out what's happening to a patient at any point in time electronically. So they're able to now promise outcome-based services to customers. Outcome, I'll ensure that you get this much more healthy as long as you do this. So that is how powerful this is, right? And so whether you are a small and medium business, whether you're a large business, this is something that you just about cannot avoid. And if you can't avoid something, you may as well be like a child. Embrace it, experience it, and be very successful. That's zero. Thank you so much.